konbanwa. I'm very happy to be here, and thank you to all of the Ashoka team, and particularly to Nana Watanabe for facilitating this visit. I'd like to start by showing you some slides, and then if there's time, a very short video at the end. And I would welcome your questions after the break. If Johnny has 3 apples, and Amelia takes 2 apples, usually in school, the question would be, how many apples will Johnny have left? But if you think about Roots of Empathy as a disruptive innovation, we ask a very different question. A question that will determine everything Johnny is going to learn that day. Here's our question. The emotional climate in a classroom determines the level of learning. And in the Roots of Empathy classroom, because children learn the literacy of their feelings, they have a greater capacity to understand what's going on internally with them and to understand their classmates. And the scientists call this a supportive learning environment. When children are very little, their brains have the competencies and the ability for cognition and emotion. They're completely connected. You can't tease them apart. So in this next slide, where we're looking at traditional education, we ask children what they know, and we measure how they perform. Roots of Empathy asks children what they think, and also asks them what they think other people think, because that's what perspective taking is. And the ability to understand the perspective of another is a very first stage of conflict resolution. In the clip we just saw, Frans de Waal, the primatologist, who's an expert with apes, I tease him and I say, maybe not with car salesmen, because his thesis was that if you have empathy, you can understand what the prospective car buyer wants and use it against them. But I think he's talking about perspective taking. And empathy is more than perspective taking. Empathy has a cognitive capacity, which is perspective taking, but it also has an affective component, and that's emotion. And in the beginning of the film, I said that empathy is the capacity to feel with another. It's not enough to understand the other. It's the ethic of care. And that ethic of care is deep in Japan. Caring is historic in Japan. So this full understanding that empathy is both a cognitive and an emotional capacity needs to be really understood. Also in Roots of Empathy classroom, we ask the children what they feel. That never happens at school. Children hide how they feel. Children are very embarrassed if they feel like crying in school. Children are really kept very well behaved and very compliant in school. So to ask them how they feel is to really turn things around. More than that, we ask them how they think other people feel. Because if they don't develop the capacity to understand how other people feel, they will never be able to have a real friend. They will never be able to have a lasting relationship. Empathy is the number one component to lasting relationships, whether they're sibling relationships, whether they're married partners. Whatever the relationship is, without the capacity for empathy, it's going to be short-lived and shallow. Roots of empathy, again, as a disruptive innovation, we're looking at children constructing their understanding rather than just instructing their understanding. Because for children to really know themselves, they need reflective time. And they need to be able to try out in a very safe and supportive environment this new way of understanding how they think and feel. Very seldom in school do we talk about the concept of metacognition. I simply mean by that the ability to understand how you think and learn. And in Roots of Empathy, we don't give the children that long name, but we absolutely aim to help them understand themselves, their specific learning style. And of course, we do this through a little baby. We have them observe a little baby and understand how that baby, the baby is thinking and feeling, but the baby's intentions. And of course, the mother helps with understanding that. And when you start with that experience base, children are able to then take that experience into their own wealth of background and move ahead in their understanding.